So in the big Captain Obvious news of the week, Halloween 2018 is officially getting a sequel. And everybody seems to be losing their fucking minds about it. Did anybody really not expect this? The movie made a lot of money. It was really well received by critics and fans alike. So it just seemed like a foregone conclusion that this was going to happen. But it was officially confirmed that Jamie Lee Curtis is returning, and Judy Greer and Andi Matichak, I believe her name is, the girl who played Allison. And it also looks like David Gordon Green is going to return in the directorial chair for this film as well, which, you know, I'm kind of indifferent on. I thought he did a good job for not really being a horror movie director, but I do think he did leave a lot to be desired. And if it is true that he is returning to the director's chair, as a fan, I do hope to see some more growth out of him. Because like I said, there were times where his direction was great, but there were a lot of times where it just seemed kind of flat and could have used a little bit more panache. But out of all those names that have been confirmed or semi-confirmed as they're returning, there is still no word yet on if we are going to get James Jude Courtney back as Michael Myers, or if we are officially going to get John Carpenter and his sons back to do the score. Getting Jamie Lee Curtis back is great. Judy Greer, Andi Matichak, David Gordon Green, that's all great. I believe this movie needs to have James Jude Courtney return as Michael Myers. Much like Jason Voorhees, multiple people have played the role. Even though Kane Hodder is the most well-known as Jason, there have been multiple people to play the role. And similarly with Michael Myers, Nick Castle might be the most revered, but he only played him once. Dumbass! There's only been George P. Wilbur that has played him twice in Halloween 4 and Halloween 6, and Tyler Mane that played him in both of the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. But I think James Jude Courtney did such a great job in the role of channeling that sort of Nick Castle and Dick Warlock versions of the Shape that I think he needs to return. Having that continuity, I believe, is important. And like I said, the guy was just phenomenal. Why wouldn't you want him back in the role? And similarly, we need to have John Carpenter and his sons back to do the score for this movie. You know, it was a few months ago, John Carpenter himself even said he wants to return to do the score for the new movie. So if he's open to coming back and doing the score, why the fuck not? Take advantage of that and bring that motherfucker back. But if they don't, I would like to see series veteran Alan Howarth return. If anybody is going to maintain that Carpenter style and keep with the tradition of what a Halloween score should sound like, it is definitely Alan Howarth. And I'm sure if the producers went to him and asked, hey, would you like to come back because John can't do it, I'm sure Alan would be all over it in a fucking heartbeat. But it looks like this movie is going to start shooting this fall. That's from a report I heard. Now, things can change, but I really do hope when they film that they take advantage of that fall vibe. And even if it means moving out of South Pasadena to film, I love that location. It's the origins of Halloween, but it is California in the fall, and it still feels way too green and summer-like. I honestly really think the best locations that were used were in Utah when they filmed there. I still think it gave you that best sort of Midwestern atmosphere. Leaves changing colors, leaves dying. It just felt like Halloween. Now there's also a big kind of discrepancy about what this film should be titled. There's a lot of people that are thinking it's just going to be titled Halloween 2. There's a lot of people that say it should be called Halloween 3. I'm of the mind where I think both titles are misleading, confusing, because you can't call it Halloween 2 because Halloween 2018 was technically Halloween 2. And you can't really call it Halloween 3. Technically you can, I guess, but since the last one wasn't Halloween 2, just throwing a number on this one, you know, it might confuse people that just saw the last one and aren't aware of another one, if that makes any sense. There's only two options I see for titling this movie. You either title it Halloween again, but you put a subtitle with it, kind of like The Return of Michael Myers or Revenge of Michael Myers, something like that. Or, like what I've heard a lot of people say that I personally am a fan of, just call it The Shape. Why not? Let's move it off of the Halloween holiday, and let's see Michael Myers actually kill people and go after people not on Halloween. I think that would be something unique. Set it a day or two after Halloween so you could still have that sort of atmosphere. You could still have those sort of decorations set up, because let's be honest, people don't tear down their shit right away. So you could still have all that going on. You could still have that Halloween vibe, but it's just not on the day of Halloween. What difference would it make? How many times did a Friday the 13th movie actually take place on Friday the 13th? But yet they were still called Friday the 13th. Just as long as it's not called Halloween 2, I really don't give a fuck. But the big thing for this sequel, and I've said it in a video prior, this needs to be Jamie Lee Curtis's last Halloween. And honestly, I would almost be happy if they killed off all 3 Strode women. Like, the whole point of removing the brother-sister angle from Laurie and Michael for this new series was so he wasn't so singularly motivated by just killing off his family. But yet they're kind of doing the same shit, just without that angle attached to it. I would love it if he just annihilated all of them, but I know that's not gonna happen. But we're still gonna head down that same road where even if he kills Laurie and Judy and we set up Allison for future films, it's like it's sort of setting up Halloween 4 and 5 all over again, just without all that mystical nonsense bullshit. This franchise needs to cut ties with Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, I love Jamie Lee Curtis. She's great. She's done wonderful things for this franchise, but it's time to move on. It's time to bury the past. And again, similarly, I've heard people bring up the fact that they want to see Danielle Harris return. Stop it! People, let go. Let go. It's time to move on. I love Danielle Harris too. I've had a big crush on her since I was really little, since I first saw Halloween 4. But it's time to move on. She was in 4 films, 2 as Jamie, 2 as Annie. Like, if she were cast, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't cry about it. Stop it! But it is time to move on. If you really truly want this series to move forward, shit from the past needs to be buried. We need to cut the ties with Jamie Lee Curtis. We need to let Danielle Harris go. This need that we just want to see her return as Jamie or as another character, it needs to stop. It needs to stop it! But that's all I really got to say about this news. There is not much more to really discuss or think about, because nothing really other than some casting and a release date have been announced. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But you know, as a Halloween fan, I am definitely looking forward to the new movie. 2020 can't get here fast enough. You know, I got a new James Bond movie coming out in April of that year, and I'll be getting a new Halloween in the fall. It's a great fucking year for me. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the news that came out over the weekend? Please post them below. Let's get a discussion going. I would like to discuss this with you guys. What are some of your thoughts and hopes for this sequel? Please post them below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Adios and GTFO.